Hello to my dear friends. Air India Express has finally announced a vacancy for CPL holders. I'm sure you all are well aware about it by now. For application, all you had to do was fill up a Google form. Many of you had contacted us with some doubts in filling up the application form. So if you have not been able to fill the application till now, let me quickly tell you how is it supposed to be done. Taking you to the application form. So this is the Google form that was uploaded by Air India Express. As you can see, it says Air India Express Limited Recruitment. Well, let's begin with your full name, where you will have to write your full name, whatever is on your class 10th or your passport, whichever you use. Next is your father's name. You know how to fill that appropriately. Your date of birth, be sure it's correct. Your age as on 1st February 2023. So your present age. Then you give your mailing address. Please be sure you mention the address where you're staying at, because this is where the communications will be made with you. Next important is your contact number. Make sure that is correct too. Then again your email ID, whichever is in use. Mention your gender. Fill in your nationality, Indian OCI, others, whichever suits you. Whether willing to base at Kozhikode, Kannur, Tiruchirappalli and other South Indian network based stations. Well, yes, no or other. Depends. Your educational qualifications, this requires your maximum to be 12, so please mention that. Any higher qualifications, if you have a diploma, a degree or anything else, maybe a master's, you can mention that. Next up is your license. Well, this is a vacancy for CPL holders, so yes, CPL. Mention your CPL number, your validity, that is whenever is the date of expiry of your CPL. ATPL number, I do not think you would have that, and ATPL validity, if you have, then please mention that. Next up is your FRTO license number, which is your Flight Radio Telephony Operator's license. It comes along with your CPL, so you have to mention that number and you have to give its validity. Next is your RTR, RTRC, RTRP number, whichever is your RTR number, mention that. Next is the validity, which is your date of expiry of the RTR license. Next is your IR date of issue, that is your instrument rating date of issue. So here it was not a major requirement for your IR to be valid, so you can write the date of issue of your IR license. It will be mentioned in your license, it would be written as your IR rating, and you have to mention the validity. Next up is your total flying hours. You will add up all your flying hours and you will mention it over here, including your multi-engine and single-engine hours. Now comes the total P2 hours. Many of you are confused about what the P2 hours is. P2 hours is basically your co-pilot hours. So in your logbook, when you open it, it will be mentioned as P2, or in some logbooks, it will also be mentioned as dual. So whatever is the case in your logbook, just find out. It might either be dual or it might be P2. So look for the column which mentions P2 and you have to total up all your P2 hours and mention it in that column. Next is your total hours on multi-engine. From your multi-engine column, check your hours and add it up and put it here. Then P2 hours on an airline jet aircraft. Not sure if you have that. If you have it, please write it. Total P2 hours on a turboprop. Again, for whoever they have it, they can. Your ELP score. Current employer, last employer, if you're employed anywhere, please do mention that. Your current designation. So in case you do not have anything to mention, just write NA. Now your experience, please fill in if you have it. The next is whether you were declared BA positive. BA is the breath analyzer test. So in case you ever were tested positive, mention that. I hope you were not. Now it again says furnish details, so please give the details. Last annual line check and aircraft type. This would not be required for us. Last flown date, you can mention your last flown date, and you can have the last IR and PPC or the aircraft type, that is your IR date, your IR check ride date. Then any accident, yes or no. If yes, mention details. Any incident, again yes or no. If yes, mention details. Any enforcement action against you, please fill that appropriately. Specific reason. Next is your date of class 1 medical. Okay, this has to be valid, so please mention the correct date. Again, the validity of your class 1 medical, your medical status, whether fit, unfit or others, and your medical status remarks if you have any. Then your passport number, passport date of issue, passport date of expiry, Aadhaar card number, PAN card number, and whether you have taken your COVID vaccinations, and whether employed or attended selection process with Air India Express before. If yes, mention details. Availability to join immediately within 2 weeks or 6 months. So this was your application form for the Air India Express recruitment. I hope all your doubts are cleared. If you have any more doubts, please do feel free to leave us a comment. We will try and help you. Keep following our channel, Epaulettes Aviation. Come, let's fly!